Gundam.tk presents Gage-ing Builder, Age-3 Normal. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs, 2Bs from GundamReviews.net, and I couldn't be happier. And actually, now that I say that out loud, yes, I suppose I could be, because this could be a plastic model, 1/100th non-grade or a master grade. But in the meantime, if you do want a 1/100th of the newest lead Gundam, I'm talking about the Age-3 Normal from Kyo's generation of Gundam Age. Well, anyway, this is the only one that you can get until the inevitable master grade, which hopefully is not going to be too far off. This is an April 2012 release, the same month that Kyo's suit first made its debut in the anime. And the MSRP is 3,000 yen, 200 yen more than the Age 1 or Age 2 Normal. Now, I probably wouldn't be picking this up if it wasn't exactly 1/100th scale, but sadly with no non-grades on the horizon, this is the only one that we can get until the master grade comes out, and so far the Age 1 and the Age 2 have been decent. So I wonder how this Age 3, which looks like it's going to have a little bit more playability, because it is going to have the Core Fighter and the G-Scepter, the ability to take it apart, it looks like. The fact that that's been recreated should give it a little bit more of an edge. Unless playing the game in the supermarket is your thing, in which case, yes, the 4 chips that are included should be enough to sell you on that. And if that's not, how about the Gundam Tri-Age card? To the side of the box where the focus is going to be on the wares, and that you can swap off those arms, which are going to have a chip apiece, and for the lower body and the chest is going to have the other one. And as you move on, here's some in-game stats, and as you go down, there's a cool combinations there. We have the Giraga, which looks like it's going to be the main cannon fodder, I suppose, if that's going to be the mass-produced version of the Zedora. Haven't actually seen the new episode yet with the Age-3, so don't know, it hasn't made its debut yet. And here you can see it down there with Titus arms and Sparrow arms, so it looks like you can take everything that you want from Age 1, Age 2, and just combine them. And the other side is going to talk about the evolution, or go ahead and advance this, as you can use your Hado system and go play the game. But onto the back of the box, where you're going to have a better picture of it, it looks like it's going to have some pretty dynamic poses, although you wonder if how much of that is just wishful thinking on the people who had to do the promotional art here. In terms of the contents, you can see what you're going to get there. The Age-3 Normal body to go along with the Core Fighter, which is attached. And then it's going to have the big Sigmasis rifle. Yes, that's looking pretty cool. You're also going to have the Transformation Core there, and you're going to be getting the Tri-Age card as mentioned. There's another combination down there, borrowing Zehart's arms, and another combination that's going to look pretty cool, I'd imagine, come Generation 3. And the bottom of the box is going to have a pretty cool art there in terms of the Age-3 Normal, and yes, there's a new pilot, Kyo Asuno. Inside the box, you're going to be getting looks like just the weapon, shoulders, arms, and a huge chunk of plastic for the body. And when it's opened up, this is what you're going to be getting. All laid out, it's a little bit more clear what's included, including the fact that you're going to be getting 2 of those Core Fighter parts, which are going to be key for the transformation. So with the arms on, now it's time to get an impression of this Double Zeta Gundam, or the Age-3 Normal. With the RX-78-2 clearly being the model for the Age 1 Normal, and the Age 2 at least transforming similar to the Zeta, it makes sense that they went with the Double Zeta and the big bulky one though, although I wonder how that's going to match up with Kyo's personality. That remains to be seen, but it's sort of cool. As I said, the anime hasn't aired yet, which means the Age 3 hasn't been shown, which means outside of the promo art, and since I don't have any other models at the moment, this is the first time that I've seen it, and it's given me a better impression seeing it with my own eyes, as opposed to just seeing scans on the internet, and I'm actually pretty impressed with the color apps. The yellow and the blue. The yellow is not, it's going to stand out quite a bit down there on the ankles and the shoulders, the red waist section, and overall, even though it is very blue, I think that's very Double Zeta-ish, and the fact that you've got that big red cannon up there on the head, I'd say that so far for looks, I'm pretty impressed with this guy. In terms of mobility, what you're able to do is the skirts are independent there, you'll just have to get them out of the way of the knees, so you can bring the legs this high forward, and you can bend the side skirts up like this, so you can get them off there one click. Well, no clicks at all, just sort of a squeak. Instead of when you bring this forward, you can bend the knees like this, so I'd say about a 135 or something like that, and then you're going to have the ankles down there. It looks like that they're just on a ball joint there with a very long ankle point, and so that's just going to move a little bit side to side and front to back, not that bad. This is with the core fighter attached, and the core fighter is going to have some thrusters here that bend up and down, although you'll notice again that they're locked in at the 45-degree angles. You don't get a lot of freedom with these GBs. Also, you can move these thrusters here on the waist skirt. In terms of the waist itself, though, if you want to rotate all the way around, more power to you. And you can spin the shoulders here. These are going to go all the way around, but you'll notice it's in increments of pi/2. 90 degrees there, and you can have the arms. These parts here are going to flip and click down there, and you can have these parts. They're not going to click, but they're only going to give you 2 different positions. The elbows themselves, or the shoulders are going to rotate around no problem, and the elbows are going to bend up and up, so you're almost getting a 180 there. Very impressive. These parts are going to be locked onto the back, and you'll notice that there are connection points all over the place in the back. As for the head mobility here, you can rotate this around and move it up and down, but not very much. To take this big boomer of a gun, I'm talking about the Sigmasis or Shigmasis or whatever it's going to be called. Anyway, you can open this part up here, which is sort of cool, and then you're going to reveal this part, which you can imagine is going to attach on. And so you just clip that behind in this clicky arm, and you can do that on either arm, I suppose, if you wanted to. And after you plug that in, nice solid click, this is going to fit into the hand, and all of a sudden, hopefully, this isn't going to have any weight issues despite its size. With the big gun attached, he's certainly going to have a lot more power and oomph to him. So far, no weight issues, though you'll notice that he will just sort of drift off in the direction of the gun, so that can just be corrected so far without having to do anything fancy with the joints or anything like that. For height comparison, though, when you take this is literally the granddaddy Gundam, I suppose, being Floyd Asino's Age-1 normal here, you can see that in terms of the head height, you've got at least looks like a couple meters there in terms of height here for the Age-3 normal. And overall, just in terms of bulk, bigger legs, bigger shoulders, not to mention the fact that when you add on 2 shields on each shoulder, and a much bigger gun, that you're just going to be getting a lot more, it looks like, for the extra 200 yen here on the left. With Asim's pre-Wolf Age-2 normal here, you can see that you're not going to see as much of a difference in terms of size, because whatever this one has in shields, this one's going to have even more in terms of the binders. One thing that I should point out, though, however, since I reviewed this last, is that, yes, these are stuck on 90-degree bends as well. And I was always able to get the back ones just to sort of cheat up, but they're getting weaker and weaker, and they do fall down on you. So you can imagine that that's going to be the fate of most of the GBs if you try to cheat that 90-degree rotation joint that they seem to have in everywhere. But overall, you can see that, again, the Age-3 is going to have at least a centimeter, I'd say, here on the Age-2. And for a taste of things to come, here it is next to the Master Grade Age-1. This is the tightest form. And you can just imagine that we're going to be getting all 3, at least the wares that we know of, between the normal, the orbital, and the fortress, of the Age-3 in Master Grade form in the future, with all the details and fun build that entails. And yes, he makes the 1/100th F90 look positively 1/144th in comparison. And for all 3, this is the first time that we've had 3 leads within a series, and certainly the first time that we've had 3 protagonists. Unless you want to go back and count the 2 of Shin and Kira from Seed Destiny. But what's your impression of these 3, and do you think it's sort of cool that they did this with Age? There's more to talk about, including the posing and the transformation of this. Let's see how that G-Scepter form is going to be, and how does it stack up compared to something like the Strider form of the Age-2 normal. So anyway, everybody, why don't you let me know what you've thought of this unbox and the mobile suit and the comparisons that you've seen so far with a comment down below. Always love to hear from you, and don't forget to stay tuned for the next part, the final one for this Age-3 normal GB 1/100th scale. Anyway, everybody, see you next time. Thanks for watching. At first glance, it doesn't make sense, but on second glance, it does.